Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, by the title, you can tell what this video is going to be about. I'm going to create an eye look. The rest of my makeup is all on. And then I'm going to answer some questions that you had for me. Couple of weeks ago, I put in my community post if you had any questions for me. I also mentioned it in one of my videos. So I have a few questions that I can go ahead and answer for you so that you can get to know me a little better. And then I'm only going to do an eye look because I figured if I was going to do my entire face, it was going to take forever. I have a hard time doing two things at once, especially doing makeup and talking. So I am going to use a new palette from Gourmande Girls. And this was released, I would say probably about a month ago. I love Gourmande Girls. Okay, to begin with, this is a Latina woman-owned indie brand, and Christina is very special. We have been friends for a long time. I don't own a lot of her palettes because most of her palettes are very colorful. I'm more into neutral. I don't mind a few colorful shades, but if it's mainly colorful, they're just not for me. But this one is more neutral. It does have a few pops of color, but I just thought it was absolutely a gorgeous palette. So I am going to use that today. And also, Christina is the kindest, sweetest person, and especially for being a brand owner. I'm a very small channel, but when I was even smaller, I probably had maybe 2,000 subscribers, maybe even a little less. She invited me to do a collab with her for lipsticks. And we chose 8 different lipstick shades. And I will link that video below where I showcase all the lipsticks. And I was able to name them. I have 2 of the lipsticks that are named after 2 of my granddaughters, Alyssa and Kaylin. And I think that is so special, and I love Christina for that. And this is something that I will never forget, and this brand will always have a special place in my heart. So the lipstick I'm wearing today is one of the beautiful lipsticks that we created together, and this one is called Cafecito. I am using it with the Ali Glines lip liner. This is MOCHA. And it's a very deep brown. And Jen, when you watch this lipstick reminds me of you. This is the shade, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's a cream lipstick. It is not drying. All of the lipsticks are beautiful. And if you watch the video, I'm going to put a picture here of all the different shades of the lipsticks. But they're all absolutely comfortable, long wearing, creamy. They're just absolutely beautiful. I don't use them a lot on my videos because I don't want you guys to think, oh, she's just trying to promote her lipsticks. But I do wear them a lot in my everyday life. I think they're amazing. They're gorgeous. And if I were to compare them to another brand, I would say they're probably similar to a MAC lipstick, but they're kind of that creaminess, comfortable, long wearing lipstick. So yeah, this is one of the lipsticks, and again, it's called Cafecito. And we're going to say we're going to have an espresso. We don't say we're going to have an espresso. We say we're going to have a cafecito. So there you go. I'm going to create a look with this beautiful palette, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. So if you're interested in that, just keep on watching. Okay, so right now what I have on my eyes, this morning when I went to church, I just put a little bit of a liquid eyeshadow, which is more or less like a base. So I'm not going to do anything as far as putting a primer on my eyes. I think this is fine the way it is. And I'm going to start with this shade right here. And this one is called Mocha Mousse right here. So I'm just going to use the mirror on the palette. Her formula is really nice. She does have some glitters in her palettes. And I'm not going to use any glitters today. I am going to use shimmer, but no glitters. I pretty much try to stay away from glitters, but I will swatch them for you at the end when I'm finished here. So anyway, I already forgot what we're doing, right? See what I mean? So let's start with question number 1. This question is from Jen. She wanted to know about my childhoods, my parents, and my siblings. So I was born in Cuba, and I turned 11 on October 1st, and we left Cuba on, I believe it was October 29th. I know it was towards the end of October. I'm pretty sure it was the 29th in 1966. So it was right after I had turned 11 years old. My sister was 6 at the time, and yeah, it was, to tell the truth, the move from leaving our country, or the only country that I had ever known, to come to something totally 1,000,000% different than what I was used to, or we were used to, was very traumatic. And I feel like I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I do remember some. I remember my parents struggling, because the way that it worked is, at that time, if you had family that lived in the United States, they could claim you to come to this country. And it took like, I don't know, probably about 3 years before you were actually approved or allowed to leave the country. We lived in a big piece of property. My grandparents lived in the back side of the property, and then it was pretty big, and we had like a lot of fruit trees and everything. We had a small home at the beginning of the property, and then I had an aunt that lived next to us. My cousin, who was also my godmother, lived in that house. Now, my father had a pretty good job at the time before we declared that we were leaving the country, and he had a pretty good job. He was making decent money, and we were not rich by any shape or form, but we were okay. You know, as far as food and everything, you were allotted a certain amount of milk, rice, anything, any kind of food that you can think of, beans, meats, very little portions on a monthly basis. And I remember that my parents pretty much used to save like all the milk and proteins for my sister and I do remember that. There were many times I remember, especially after my father, once we declared that we were leaving the country, my father was automatically fired from his job, because all the companies were government owned, and things got tough because he was not allowed to work anywhere in a legitimate job, you know, through a government owned company. So, you know, things were not easy for us. And I remember there was many times that my parents' meal would be a glass of water with brown sugar and a piece of bread. Or they had these things that were like a pound cake, a piece of pound cake. That would be what my parents would survive on. And I remember that. That's something that, you know, it's engraved in my memory. But as far as like what my school was like, my school life in Cuba, I don't remember any of that. And it's sad, but it's like once I came here, I really think it was so traumatic that I chose to forget certain things. I don't know. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. I don't remember that. But I do remember some of the tough times. I don't remember my parents ever being negative or saying, you know, saying things in front of my sister or I, even though my sister was pretty small at the time, that, you know, so that we would worry about them. But I mean, I was 11, so I was old enough to notice certain things. So my dad owned a car, and how my dad made a living was as a cab driver, but kind of like under the table. You know, it's like he had certain customers that will call on him, and, you know, that's how he made his living, and he was able to make some money that way. I'm going to this deep brown, just darken up, but that's a beautiful shape, by the way. This is so pretty. This almost is like a brown with like, it's like a rosy brown. Look how pretty that is. That's really beautiful. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of that brown, not a lot. So anyways, I do remember that my father, and I remember that he was always very nervous when he would have to do these trips, because if he got caught, he would probably go to jail. They would take his car away and we would lose the opportunity of leaving the country. So they made it very difficult. It's like, you know, I don't know how they expected people to survive those 3 years without any source of income. So I remember that. I remember the stress that my parents went through, because, you know, you're trying to survive, you're trying to feed your family, you try not to get caught doing these things. I only have one sister. Like I said, she's 5 years younger than me. So we came to this country and we came straight to New Jersey, because the person that claimed us was my aunt, and she lived in New Jersey at the time. And we lived with her. She had an apartment, and we lived with her for a short period of time. My father was very fortunate to be able to find, he was a mechanic in Cuba, a very good mechanic, and my father was able to find a good job in New Jersey, and he was able to save enough money so that we could get our own apartment pretty quickly. And my parents, I mean, they sacrificed a lot for my sister and I. You know, they put us in Catholic schools, and at the time they were not as outrageous as they are now, but still at the time I'm sure it was, you know, it was a sacrifice for them. School was very hard back then in New Jersey. There were not that many Spanish-speaking people. You know, I was in the 7th grade, and I remember there was only one other girl. Her name was Rosa, and that spoke Spanish in my class, and the poor thing got stuck with me. You know, she was the one that would help me. You know, I learned English by reading books like See Spot Run. It was hard. It was hard going somewhere where you didn't understand the language. Nobody understood you. And it was just difficult. And then we were living in we went to New Jersey in the winter. From Cuba to New Jersey is a big difference. We walked to school, and we walked in I think I'm going to use a little bit of this one right here. Let me see what that looks like. Oh, that's pretty. Look how pretty. But before I do that, I am going to put a little bit of the Gourmande Girl. This is glitter glue, just so that I don't have fallout on the shimmer. So I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand. It is a clear gel. This is only $10, guys, and it's really, really good. It is not super thick, and it does a great job with shimmers. And I do have a discount code with them. It's a 10% off, but I will link it below in case anybody's interested. If you want to just go look at her brand. I'm not sure if she ships international or not. I really can't tell you that. But so living in New Jersey, I'm going to use my finger. Yeah, it was, you know, we got there and it was winter. So we had to walk to school. My dad got a job. We only had one car, you know, the car that my dad was able to buy when he started working. But it was nothing fancy, but it was transportation. And my sister and I walked to school every day. My mom walked us. And, you know, life went on. Then my grandfather came from Cuba. You know, he joined us. He had health issues, and part of his health issues were, you know, the cold weather was affecting it. So after we lived in New Jersey for 3 years, when I was starting my freshman year in high school, we decided to move to Tampa. And at the time, we didn't have any family in Tampa and, you know, in Florida. So, you know, my father decided he wanted to do that for my grandfather. I'm going to go into this one right here. Swatch that for you. Oh my gosh, look at that. So we moved from New Jersey after the school year ended and before school started here. And we rented a house, and my parents wanted to put us in Catholic school, and my sister was able to start in her Catholic in a school, but I was not able, I'm gonna go into the shade right here, the light one. I was not able to start. There was the school that we wanted to go to, they had no openings, so I had to go on a waiting list. So I had to start in public school, but after I was there for like a couple of, I don't even think it was 2 months, they had an opening at the Catholic school, and I was able to go to that school. So I graduated from Catholic school, and my husband was already a student at that school. But the funny thing is, he was a year ahead of me. So we used to see each other in the hallways and things like that, but we never spoke to each other. We only knew each other from seeing each other, but we never had any kind of interaction in school. So how I really met my husband is we both started working as soon as I turned 16. I was a junior in high school. I was able to get a job. So I started working at the store at the time, which is kind of similar to like a Walmart. It was a department store. I started working there, and I started in the ladies department, and I was there for a while. I couldn't wait to start working because I wanted to have my own money. I wanted to, you know, be able to buy my own things. And as soon as I was able to get my working permit, I started working there. So my husband worked there. He worked in the automotive department. So when I started working there, we started seeing each other in the break room. He had already graduated from high school. We started seeing each other and getting to know each other. We're friends for a while. I mean, there were even guys and that worked at the store that wanted to take me out, and he used to. It was so funny because he used to tell me, you should go with him. He's a nice guy. Listen, my parents are very strict. My parents, when I started going out with my husband, I had to have a chaperone. My sister had to chaperone us. Yes. So do you think I was going to go through that much trouble for just any old guy? No, it was not. It wasn't worth it for me. So he used to try to encourage me to go out with these guys, you know, because some of them were nice guys, and I'm like, no, thank you so much. We knew each other for a couple of years. We worked together. And then when I was in my senior year, one day he comes up to me and he asked me out. And I said, first it shocked me because we were friends, because we used to go like on breaks together and everything. But I never really thought of him as, you know, like a boyfriend or somebody that I wanted to go out with. And like I said, dating someone was so far removed. And I did have a little boyfriend like when I was like 15, but that was a joke, okay? So that was really like, it's not even worth mentioning. He used to come visit at my house, and you know, we never did anything, went anywhere. It was stupid. So anyway, he doesn't even count. So anyway, he asked me out, and I automatically said, no, I can't. So he's like, why? I said, no, I just can't. I can't date. So he goes, okay. So he left it at that. So it was kind of like the thing like, okay, he wants to date me. I never looked at him that way as someone that I wanted to date. You know, we were friends, and I'm like, well, if it doesn't work out, then I'm going to lose him as a friend. And, you know, I wasn't cool with that. So I'm going to use a little bit, just the mascara that I'm wearing right now. This is the one from my face. So anyways, a few months later, he comes up to me and he tells me, hey, I'm quitting. I got another job, a better job, so I'm not going to be working here anymore. You don't want to go out with me? And he goes, can I have your phone number so that, you know, I can at least call you and we can keep in touch? And I said, well, here's my phone number, but you can call me. So he goes, okay, so you give me your phone number, but I can call you. I said, no, I don't want to deal with my dad and you calling me. This is absolutely beautiful. I don't know what you guys think, but I think this is gorgeous. So I'm going to swatch the glitters that she has here. So anyway, which I'm probably they're never going to see my eyeballs, okay? But And you know what's nice about this palette? Every one of the shimmers and the glitters had like a little topper on it, so they would not be messed up during shipping. That's amazing. Companies don't do that. Okay, so these are the glitters, and they're absolutely gorgeous, but those babies are not gonna see my eyes, because there's no way that will be like way too blingy for me. And look at the mess. This will be like, I will be taking this off my face and my hair and everything else for a week. So actually, I'm gonna put you on hold. I'm gonna go wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okay, so the ones that I use is this one, like on the middle of my lid. No, this one, the middle of the lid. And then this one in the inner corner. But these are gorgeous. The pigment on these eyeshadows is amazing. And I have very, very little fallout, but it's swiping right off. They are like dual chromes. So I don't know if you can see it, but they are dual chromey. Hopefully you'll be able to see that they're a little dual chromey. I gave him my phone number. I told him not to call me. Eventually he did call me, and he took me to my prom. That was the one and only time that I was able to go out without a chaperone, and I had to be home by midnight. Every other date that we had, my sister was there with us. And we usually ended up doing like what my sister wanted to do. If there was a movie, whatever movie, I still have glitter and I wash my hands. Whatever movie my sister wanted to go. But anyways, we were together. Probably started dating when I was 17, and we got married right after I turned 19. I turned 19 October 1st, 1974. We got married on November 16th, 1974. And my daughter was born 9 months and 10 days after we were married. And I swear to God that there was no hanky-panky before. And I was praying that she would not be early, because my parents would have never believed me. So anyway, I have 2 children. I have a daughter, and she have 3 grandchildren from her. I have a grandson that's going to be 27. He's a firefighter. I have a granddaughter that's 24, and she's a mental health counselor or therapist. I have another grandson that is 21, and he's still finishing school, and he is working part-time at a restaurant. My daughter is a special ed teacher, and she is happily married. And then I have a son that is 5 years younger than my daughter, and I have 2 grandchildren from his first marriage. Alyssa, that is the one that loves makeup like me. She's 11. My grandson that is 14 years old, his name is Christian. Then his wife had a daughter from another marriage. Her name is Tiffany, and she's 10, almost 11. And then they have a baby together, Isabella, and she's going to be 2 in a couple of weeks, next month in September, which I can't believe. So anyway, that is how I met my husband. We've been married almost 51 years. In November, it will be 51 years. Okay, so that question was asked by Tara. Okay, Rhoda asked me the same thing. How did I meet my husband? So I already said that. The kids and career. When I was going to school, I wanted to be a legal secretary. And I was a secretary for a while. Back then, they had a Bank of America, and I was a secretary for like the vice president of Bank of America. And then when I got married, I went back part-time when my daughter was born until she was like 7 months old. And then I went back full-time. And I eventually changed, and I started working for Macy's, but it used to be Moss Brothers at the time. And I worked for them in their credit department, and I was a supervisor for the credit department. Then my husband got promoted. He worked for a cigarette company. He got promoted to Miami when my son was like 1.5. And my daughter was like, she was 5 years older, so she was like almost 7. And we moved to Miami, and which I did not like. We lived in North Miami Beach, but when we lived here in Tampa, my parents and his parents took care of the kids. They picked up my daughter from school, you know, I picked them up when I got off work. My son didn't even speak English because my parents and in-laws didn't speak English, so they only spoke to him in Spanish. So poor thing, I had to put him, we lived in North Miami Beach in a daycare that there was no Spanish speaking people. And my son cried every morning when I dropped him off for months. And I mean months. And it broke my heart each and every morning. And my daughter went to a private school. And we lived there for 3 years. And then I told my husband I really didn't want to live there anymore. We used to travel to Tampa a lot on the weekends, like at least once a month, and on the holidays. And I told him I really didn't want to do it anymore. I transferred from Moss Brothers to Jordan Marsh. It was the same company. And it was downtown. And I lived in North Miami Beach. They were downtown Miami. The traffic was horrible. Eventually, I left there. Started working for American Express, which was in Fort Lauderdale, but it was closer to me and less traffic. So I worked for them for about a year and a half, and then things were changing with my husband's company also, and he was no longer that happy. So after 3 years, my daughter was starting the 4th grade, my son was going to start kindergarten, and we decided to move back. So then anyways, we sold the house in Miami, we moved back. I found the job. I worked for them for 7 years, and then I decided to switch jobs because they were making changes that was going to impact my salary, because I made a salary plus commissions on any collections that we brought in. They were going to change that, so I decided it's time to quit. So then I found a job with a billing office for a pathologist group, a huge pathologist group for a huge hospital system here. And I started there as a supervisor. And I worked for them for like 13 years. And then I got a little burnt out. So I quit. And I worked for a staffing company, which was so out of my comfort zone because I'm an introvert. I can never right now, I don't even know how I did that job because it was knocking on doors and trying to get clients. But you know what? I loved it. I really did love it. It was something totally different. It brought out a different, a different part of my personality that I didn't even know existed. And I did that for about a year. And I was making really good money. And then they decided, because they opened branches too quickly in too many places in Florida. And there was 2 of us working the Florida area. This part of Florida area. And they decided that they really couldn't keep both of us at full pay. So they wanted us to go like part-time. And I said, I can't do that. So I told them, I said, listen, I'll resign and you can let the other girl have the job because part-time wasn't going to do it for me. So I took the path of least resistance and I went back to the company, to the pathologist that I had quit. And I worked for them for an additional 15 years. So I was total with them like 28 years. That's where I retired from. Was I happy? No. It was, I hate to say it, but it was a very negative place. But I made good money. And I mean, I was able to take time off whenever I wanted to. It was just always a lot of drama. And I was a manager and it was like babysitting. The day I quit, I did not miss it for one day. But like I said, I was making good money and it's kind of hard to walk away from a company that you're making good money. Julie asked me what I did for a living before retiring, so that's it. And she asked me about the problems with my back and why I have trouble walking. Okay, so I have arthritis everywhere in my body. Look at my hand. This is my right hand. But I have it everywhere. I have bursitis in my elbows. I have it on my shoulders. I have it on my hips. I've had to have both of my knees replaced because of arthritis. I have arthritis on my spine. I have bone spurs. I have a little bit of a curvature, which has gotten better because I've been going to a chiropractor for about 2 years, and I have to say that has helped. I have a lot of issues with my back. Yeah, I can't walk for a long period of time. I can't stand for a long period of time. It's just very, very, very difficult. Actually, I feel like I have to live my life around the pain, depending on how I feel. Or I have to take medication before I have to plan to do something so that I can make it through whatever function we're doing. it is just very difficult. It's very difficult for me. Like I said, going to the chiropractor has gotten better. I have been on pain medication for years, but my pain management doctor decided to stop doing pain management back in September. So I decided, and I didn't take my pain medication all the time. I only took it when it was really, really bad, because I didn't want to get hooked on it. I didn't want to depend on it all the time. I'm not the type of person that likes to take pills just for the sake of taking pills or be dependent on something or someone. So when I stopped going to him and I ran out of medication, I felt a little relief from the chiropractor as far as daily function. But my husband has to help me out with things around the house, because I can't. I can't sweep the floors, I can't mop the floors. There's a lot of things I can't do, and if I start doing it, immediately I go into a lot of pain, and then it knocks me out. If we're planning on doing something big, like over the weekend, I have to pretty much for 2 days before do absolutely nothing, so that I don't aggravate my pain. So that's the reason why. And you know, we are planning on going to, like I said, Portugal, and I'm so excited about it, but I'm also very fearful of it, because I know that both Lisbon and Porto are very hilly, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet. Because at first I was going to take a walker with me, but I don't know how. I found when we went even to Spain that they're not very handicap friendly. I hate to say it, but even the bathrooms, how to get in and out of places, they're just not. I don't know how people do it that live there, but I didn't find it. Even though I didn't take anything with me, I did notice that it was just not a very handicap friendly place for people with mobility issues. So we're trying to do some research. I really don't want to stop living my life because of my pain. I refuse to do that. So I will find a way of doing it, but am I apprehensive about it? Absolutely, 1000% yes. I'm still going to do it. I'm not going to let me stop me. Okay, so Dawn said, do you like to read? What kind of books? I love to read. I don't do it as much as I used to. And I love to read some romance, or I like to read some young adult, like fantasy books. Something entertaining. I don't like to read anything deep or depressing. I do like some scary books, or like Robin Cook, that he writes about like medical thriller kind of things that happens like in hospitals and things like that. I find his stories very, very interesting. I don't like to read anything that is like, you know, somebody with an axe and chopping people off. That's not my kind of thing. I don't really get into self-help books. I'm just not into that. But something light, something that is entertaining, that it takes my mind away from, you know, whatever's going on, or, you know, things are stressing me out. So I just like to keep it light and airy and fun. You know, it doesn't have to change my life. And she says, what is my idea of a perfect day? My idea of a perfect day is either just get in the car and go off with my husband for a nice drive. We like to go take drives like down the beach, and go have either brunch or dinner or lunch somewhere, you know, like, you know, by the sea, by the ocean, you know, waterfront, just relax. I also love spending time with my kids and grandkids. That's a perfect day for me, to spend time with my loved ones. And that's just what makes me happy. And the beach and the ocean are my happy place. I feel like that is my stress relief. Just the sound of the ocean, the smell of the ocean. I don't know, it's peaceful to me. I love it, absolutely love it. Do I dream of living somewhere else? No, all my family lives here, and I cannot picture myself living anywhere near, anywhere far away from them. I live like maybe 35 minutes away from my daughter. And my son lives a little further, like 40 minutes, but still, it's not that far. You know, if I want to see him, I can get in my car and go see them. I really would not even consider moving anywhere further than that. Laura asked me, when did I start wearing makeup? Who taught me? Or was it by observation? And how long have I lived in Florida? So we moved to Florida in 1969, so I lived here for 56 years. When did I start wearing makeup? I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was 15. I wasn't supposed to shave my legs either until I was 16. But let me tell you something. I started high school at the age of 13. My hair has always been very dark, like a brown black, including the hair on my legs. And they were so hairy and the hairs were so long. And my uniform skirt came to my knee. And we did wear socks, but there was like this much leg that showed. Okay, I could have braided those babies, okay? They were nasty. So one day I went home and I got in the bathroom and I took my father's shaver and I shaved my legs without telling my mother. I cut myself really, really bad around the ankle area. I was in the bathroom forever because I couldn't get it to stop bleeding. I finally got it to stop bleeding. My mother, I'm sure, noticed, because that woman noticed everything, but she never mentioned it, and neither did I. So I was like 13 when I started shaving my legs. I was 15 when I started wearing makeup. I basically just wore like CoverGirl, Maybelline, Revlon, you know, the little drugstore stuff, you know. Then when I started working, probably when I was about 19, I started using Clinique. And then when I was probably like in my 30s, I moved up to Lancome and I still had some Clinique. But no, I was self-taught, just, you know. I didn't even start watching YouTube till like 9 years ago, so just pretty much played with it, always loved it, absolutely loved it. If I could have worn makeup at, you know, the age of 5, I probably would have. But and the funny thing is my mother barely wore any makeup. My mother only wore skincare. My mother didn't wear any skincare. I don't think she owned any skincare. She washed her face, I think, with like ivory soap, okay? Which is what she used to take a bath with. And makeup, when we went to a special thing like a wedding or something like that, my mother would wear powder and she would wear like a little bit of eyeshadow, but I mean, you could barely see it, like a dusting of eyeshadow. I don't even think she wore mascara. A little bit of blush and lipstick. And that's it. I think my mother owned 1 lipstick, maybe 2. And that's when she would paint her nails also. So I don't know. And I really didn't have anybody else in my life that wore makeup that, you know, influenced me into wearing it. So I don't know. Yeah, who taught me? Yeah. So the next one is by Tammy. And she asked me, what is my most used brand? That is a hard one. Okay, lifetime is, since I started wearing makeup, it was probably Lancome. That's like the Lancome I used for years. That's all I would wear. Probably when I started wearing it, you know, in my 30s until I started a YouTube channel, I would say probably 80% of my makeup was Lancome, a little bit of Clinique. I did have some Revlon lipsticks for sure. I've owned Revlon lipsticks since I started wearing makeup, okay? And some of the shades I have, not the same lipstick, I bought new ones, but like the same shade, like Cherries in the Snow, Rum Raisin. Yeah, some of them I've owned for a long, long time. If I had to give up if I had to choose one lipstick to wear for the rest of my life, it would be Revlon Super Lustrous lipsticks. They're amazing, they're affordable, they have every shade you can possibly want, and I'm very, very loyal to them, and if they ever discontinue them, I would be very, very sad. So Tammy and Carmel both asked me, what inspired me to become a YouTube creator? All right, so like 9 years ago, I had my first total knee replacement, and I had to be home for like, it was like 7 weeks. Unfortunately, I wasn't ready to, but I had to go back to work at 7 weeks. I was bored. I became one with my recliner because that's, you know, pretty much all I did all day. I mean, I can walk. It's not like I couldn't walk because they wanted you to walk, you know. That's how you get your mobility back. But I couldn't do anything, you know, no heavy lifting, nothing crazy. I couldn't drive, anything like that. So I discovered YouTube. And one of the first channels that I discovered was Jessica Braun. At that time, Jessica was a school teacher, and she did makeup videos, you know, like as a hobby or as a part-time kind of thing. And then I discovered Emily Noel, and I discovered Ali Glines. So I've been watching those three for like 9 years. But Jessica Braun is the one that put the bug in me, because I remember watching one video and she was saying that if you're passionate about makeup, if this is something that you truly love, and you want to do a YouTube channel, that you should. That it's not anything that, you know, you should do to like become rich or become famous, but it's something that if you're passionate about it, you should do it. So I still thought about it for a couple of years. And she put the bug in my head, but I kept thinking, am I too old to do this? Am I crazy trying to do a YouTube channel? Do I really want to do that? I'm kind of quiet. I'm the kind of person that if I'm at a party, if I don't know you, my husband talks to anybody, he makes friends everywhere. But I kind of stay in the background, and I'm very quiet, and I really don't participate a lot. I do talk to people, you know, they talk to me. I'm not rude, but I'm not a social butterfly. So I told myself, do I want to do this? Is this something that I, you know, and I thought about it for a while. And then about 1.5 years after that, I talked to my husband about it. I said, hey, you know, I've been thinking about this. And he goes, I think you should do it. He goes, I think that will be a good hobby for you. If you really want to do it, he goes, I'll help you. He helped me find, it was more than 1.5 years, because I mean, I got started like as soon as I told him. He helped me find a camera. I already had a YouTube channel, so if you look at my YouTube channel, it looks like I've been on it for a lot longer. But my channel, I mean, long enough, my channel has been around for like 7.5 years. My beauty channel. But if you look when I started YouTube, it was way before that. But I really wasn't that active. So anyway, he helped me buy the camera. I remember my first video was an Allure box unboxing. And it was weird. I felt like, you know, I was talking to no one, you know, just talking to myself. Now it's a lot easier because I've gotten to know so many of you guys, and I picture myself talking to you. You know, it's like talking to a friend. So it's not so hard, you know, talking to a camera. I don't feel crazy anymore. I remember how exciting it was when I got my first subscriber. When I hit 100 subscribers, I was ready to throw a party. And now it's like, okay, my channel's stuck. My channel doesn't go anywhere. I have so many of you lovely ladies that come and watch every one of my videos, regardless of what it is. And I love you so much for it. I really appreciate it. And I wish I could grow my channel a little more. But I do it not because I want to be rich, make a lot of money, or anything like that. I do it because I truly do love sharing with you guys my love, my passion for makeup, for skincare, more makeup than skincare. And I just like to show you, you know, I like to have somebody that I can talk to about. I can't call my daughter and talk to her for 20 minutes, you know, 3 times a week and talk to her just about makeup, or anybody else in my family. Sometimes I ramble a little bit to them, but you know, they're not into it like I am. Then Carmela wants to know, what is the best and the worst thing about having a YouTube channel? The best thing is having a YouTube channel it's like an outlet for me. I feel that when I'm doing a YouTube, I'm not thinking about the pain that I'm in. I'm not thinking about anything else that could be stressing me out or worrying me or anything like that. I have met so many amazing women, whether they are other creators or the beautiful women that subscribe to my channel, that we have become friends through talking to each other in the comments. And, you know, some of us chat through Instagram, or we text each other, you know, and to me, that is priceless. The fact that you guys share sometimes personal things with me in your comments, or if you send me a text, or if I haven't sometimes if I haven't recorded for like a week because I'm not feeling well, or I took a few days off, some of you will reach out and ask me, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? When my dad was alive, so many of you would ask me all the time how my dad was doing. There's so many videos that I have that you can, because my dad used to be in the living room here, and he would be talking or, you know, making noises while I'm doing videos, and you got, it will be on, you know, the sound of my video, and you guys would always say, hey, say hi to your dad. How's your dad doing? That means the world to me. That is priceless, okay? And that has no monetary value whatsoever. I don't make any money on YouTube. I don't. And I make a little bit when you guys use my links, and I so appreciate it. Am I becoming rich? Is this giving me enough income to, you know, purchase other products I share with you guys? No, absolutely not. I just do it because I love it. And there's been times where I feel like, say, Clara, you're wasting your time. So you continue to do this. But I really don't want to give it up because I really do enjoy all the relationships that I've made. You know, one of them is Rena. Rena has been to Florida twice to see me. She's come on vacation during the summer. She doesn't have to stop in Tampa. She wasn't coming to Tampa. She was going to Miami and Orlando. But she stopped in Tampa and spent 24 hours here so we can see each other and spend some time together. That to me is amazing. And there's so many of you that I can call and ask for a favor. And you guys would do it without any hesitation. You know, and it's amazing. So many of you, listen, of all the ladies that are in my group that I communicate with, I'm probably the oldest one. And you guys have asked me to collab with you, even though you can be my daughter, you know, and that means so, so much to me. You have no idea how meaningful that is. What do I like the least? Okay. Even though I don't do a tremendous amount of editing, I usually just take a lot of ums and so, or long pauses off, or if I mispronounce something, or, you know, sometimes the mouth and the brain are not connected. And those are the things that I edit the most. I try to keep my channel to be what you see is what you get. This is real life. I'm not perfect with lighting. I'm not perfect with editing. I don't have B-roll, and maybe that's why I don't get subscribers, but it is what it is. I need to be me. You know, like I said, this is not a career for me, so I want to keep it real. Editing, I don't enjoy, because sometimes for a 20-minute video, I have 45 minutes to edit, and cutting those 25 minutes off or whatever, it takes a while. Also, using all the links, linking every product that I'm talking about, that takes a long time. Even though I link everything, there could be several videos and nobody links on any, nobody goes to any of my links. Or you may decide, okay, I'm linking it at Ulta, but you may decide to go to Target and buy it, or go to Amazon and buy it. So my link is not helping. Or you may use my look at something today, but decide, oh, I'm just going to go to Ulta and buy it instead of using her link. So not every link that I put generates income for me. And when it does, it's not that much, okay? Most of the links, they'll pay anywhere from 3%. Some of them, if you're lucky, 13%. That's the average, between 3 and 13. So it's just, it could just be a couple of dollars. It could just be a few cents, depending on what it is. But it does help when I get that, you know, I get paid through the links. I do use that money to purchase products for my channel, but I would say 80% of the products that I purchase, I pay for it 100% myself. I get very little PR. I pretty much shared with you all the PR that I received. Do I appreciate getting PR? Yes. Do I think I do okay with PR for the amount of subscribers I have? Absolutely. I mean, I have received PR from some really good companies. Merit sends me PR very often. I received L'Oreal for a year. They sent me, not every release they have. They sent me around 4 launches that they have. Ilia has sent me. What else? Urban Decay sent me one time. So I've had some really good companies send me some PR. I'm not complaining. Nomad Cosmetics sent me their launches for 6 months. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and I don't take it for granted. Yeah, I also don't like drama. I don't like the drama. I don't like the petty stuff. Yeah, and I try to stay away from that, but you still listen to it sometimes. I don't like the negative comments that sometimes, I don't get that many. I'm sure the bigger channels get more, but I don't like the negative comments that I get. I don't think that I do the kind of video that should generate negative comments. If you don't like the way I do my makeup, go to the next person. You don't need to stay. You know, this is free for you to watch me. And if you don't like me, I'm sure I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You don't have to stay. You can go watch the next person. But don't tell me how to do my eyes. Don't tell me how to do my lips. I do my eyes, my lips the way I like them. It may not be the way you like it, and that's okay. I never said I am an MUA. I am just someone that likes to play with makeup. I'm not teaching you anything. I am sharing with you what I do. So for you to leave me a comment about how maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. And if you give me constructive criticism, hey, I gladly accept it. It's just when you come in across nasty, because even when somebody does that on one of my friends' videos, I usually jump on the comment and pretty much tell them you be nasty. Gloria asked me typical day in my life, and I already said that. We tell them, well, typical day in my life. It's pretty much, I try to video, like today is Sunday, I'm just doing one video today, but I usually on Saturday or Sunday, I try to do 2 videos. I try to do my video for Sunday and Tuesday. And then between Monday and Thursday, I try to do my video for Friday, my Friday video. So, but I try to do 2 on the weekend, but I didn't have time yesterday to do 2 of them. So I just did my Sunday one, and then today, this is my Tuesday video, and then I'll have until Thursday to do my Friday video and then edit. And it does take me a little while to edit and do all the links. That is a typical day on the day that I'm preparing for YouTube. In the meantime, I'm just doing things around the house. Doctor's appointments, the older you get, the more of those you have. That's like my husband and my hobby. Yeah, I'm making doctor's appointments. My husband does most of the grocery shopping. You know, just do laundry, try to read a little bit, watch some YouTube, watch some Netflix, cook dinner. Just nothing exciting, okay? On the weekend is usually when we try to do something like, you know, we get up and go to church. Sometimes we'll go for a drive and have brunch somewhere. Go see our grandkids in the afternoon. Things like that. Nothing crazy. Then she says that she knows that I'm Cuban. Yes, I am Cuban. Do I still have family there? I do have some cousins there. I have a very dear cousin, and she watches all of my videos from Cuba. That's the one that I went to go visit in Miami when she came to see her daughter. And we grew up together. She's a couple of years younger than I am, but she was older than my sister. So my sister and I really didn't, you know, do that much together when, you know, she was 5 years younger. So my cousin and I did more together than my sister and I did. So she was like my play buddy, and from what I understand, the story she's told me, I used to get us in trouble. And I can't imagine that, because I've never been a troublemaker, okay? I never skipped school. I was never bad in class. I remember being a bad child, but some of the stories she tells me, I was a little, but I don't remember them, and maybe that's a good thing. But I used to get us in trouble together. But I remember having sleepovers at her house, and then we didn't see each other for years, many years, over 20 years. And the first time I went back to Cuba with my husband and his dad, and I saw her, it was like we had never been apart. It's one of those relationships. And now we chat a lot through WhatsApp, and also through messaging. And she surprised me one year coming from Cuba. She spent a week with me the week of my birthday. Another year for my birthday, I went to Cuba and stayed with them for a few days. And she's been to the US a couple of times, and we visited that way. So it's amazing whenever I get to see her. But I do chat with her a lot, and I do know that she watches all my videos. So Tere, esto es para ti, mi prima linda. Te quiero mucho y muchas gracias por ser la bella persona que eres. So I do love her. She's like another sister to me, and she's just an amazing person. The strongest, one of the strongest women I know. She's definitely a strong person, and I'm very, very proud of her, of the woman that she is. And let's see, she wants to know if I can share some easy Cuban recipes. I would love to. Maybe there's a day that I can do a video when I'm making like black beans or something like that, or I can write the recipe below and you guys can follow. I have that. I'm a very hard person to give out recipes because I'm the kind of cook that doesn't measure. You know, it's like my daughter, when she asked me to teach her how to make black beans, it's like I have to make it with her so that I can kind of like, because I usually either pour straight in the pan or pour some in the, you know, on the palm of my hand. And, oh yeah, that looks right. So then she'll take that amount and measure to see how much it is. Like I can tell her to use a whole onion, a whole pepper, you know, but when it comes to spices, I don't measure. I never do. I do for baking. I don't for cooking. So it's kind of hard for me, but I can share some recipes. I know I have the black bean recipe. If you guys will like that, I would write it below if you guys are interested. I would love to share that. A little more than things about me that no one asked me, but here it is. I feel that I am a very loyal person. I will do anything for a person that I love. I'm the type of person that people feel comfortable coming to me and telling me their problems, which sometimes it can be a little overwhelming for me. But at the same time, I'm glad that people feel comfortable that they can come to me. I like to help others without being asked to help. But if I see that there's something I can do for someone that will make their life easier, I try to do that to the best of my ability without expecting anything in return. I feel like I'm a giver. I feel better about giving than receiving. Even when it comes to gifts. I love to give things to people, but I feel funny when somebody gives me something. It's just a weird feeling, but I love giving. I love making people happy. I love putting a smile on somebody's face. If I can make somebody's day better, why not? It doesn't cost me anything, you know. I just like to do little things for people. I do give others respect and loyalty, but when someone disrespects me or when someone lies to me, it hurts, especially if it's someone that I care for. You know, if it's just anybody that's like, okay, I don't need you. Get out of my life. But if it's someone that I care for, it's very hurtful. And once that trust is broken, I don't hold a grudge, but it's hard to get that trust back from me because I feel like I don't do that to people. And I treat people the way I want to be treated. And when someone can do that for me, when someone can be hurtful or hurt the ones that I love, I have a very hard time with that. And I become like Mama Bear that, you know, don't mess with my loved ones. It's an iffy thing. I will do anything for anybody, but don't stab me in the back. Don't lie. Don't break that trust that I have because it's going to be very, very hard for you to get it back. And I hate injustice. I hate when people are not treated right, even if it has nothing to do with me, when I feel that someone is being taken advantage of. And, you know, sometimes we live in a society right now that, I don't know, the sense of community has kind of been lost. Everybody's out for themselves. So anyway, I think that's all I have for you today. This is probably a lot longer than I wanted it to be, and I'll see if there's anything silly when I'm doing it, and I'll cut it out. I just wanted you to get to know me a little better. I want to thank each and one of you that asked me a question. And also those of you that did not see my post, that's okay. If you have any other questions for me, you can leave them for me on this video, and I'll try to do a part 2 in the future. But I want you to know that whether you spend 10 minutes with me, 20 minutes, you watch my whole video, which I think most of you do watch my whole video. I really do appreciate it, and you have no idea how much it means to me. And I'm just not saying it just to say it. It really does mean a lot to me. Each one of you is very special. And when I say that I love you, I mean it. I love the relationship that we have. It's a virtual one, but to me it's an important one. And you don't have to see someone every day to have a relationship with them. So I feel like I have built some really nice relationships with some other creators, which I treasure. Some that have been around longer than others. Leanne Serrao has been a friend of mine for many years. Danielle has been, you know, we've been friends. We pretty much started our channels about the same time. We've been friends for a long time. And you don't have to watch every one of my videos. I don't expect you to, but wow, do I appreciate to see your name down there. Whenever I look at my comments, that just makes my day to see that you're back. And some of you are back for each and every one of my videos. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you're new to my channel, I'm sorry that you got stuck with this long chatty video, but I hope that you consider, you know, staying around, subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. If you don't want to leave me a comment on the bottom, just leave me a heart or a flower or something just to know that you were here. And yeah, I will see you on my next video. Have an amazing week. And I love you. And until next time. Bye, guys. Mwah.